in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
I mean, we've always been targeted, to be honest. So people have always looked at us as prey, and we've always felt we were the predators, especially this year. So just going next year, better discipline, better execution. We'll do, I think with the experience everyone's garnered, especially our team being so young, I think that instead of playing the game next year, we'll be thinking the game more, and it's going to lead to more wins, and it's going to be leading to less errors. So
I need one of those Got Finch sweatshirts. Are those for sale somewhere?
I think that's Jake Graff's.
Okay.
Yeah, Jake Graff's is great. Love Jake Graff's.
Is Jake Graff's local? Is he Minnesota?
So his warehouse, when I got my little Jefferson Ant base swap shirt, I think it came from South Carolina. However, the shipping was very quick. Like I placed the order on a Monday and it was at my doorstep by like Thursday, Friday. So pretty quick turnaround for the shipping.
They have Play-In Champions apparel. They have
Yeah.
And oh my God. So the Play-In Champions, it's a hand with glue on it on a basketball, paying homage, I would guess, to the protester. These are only like $20 hoodies, man. Sweet.
Yeah, they're nice. Jake Graff's a friend of the show.
Wolves back to old TNT logo. Yeah, this is all Minnesota stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Finchy shirts.
He's a fan of the show. Loves Score North.
$20
appreciated
hoodies?
the shout out. Yeah.
The hoodie
you said?
Sorry, the crew neck. The crew neck sweatshirt is
Love me a
$30.
crew neck.
The
More
hoodie is $37, but yeah, there you go. JakesGraphs.com. JakesGraphs.com. We're not even paying for that. We just like that sweatshirt.
He does like our stuff though, so that helps.
Okay. So let's talk some Timberwolves here on Feedback Friday. That was Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't know what he was going for there with the we're always targeted. They think that we're the predators, but we're the prey, but we're the predators. Like no one's
You're the
targeting.
Timberwolves.
And
no one's targeting.
Exactly.
Just keep going. Keep grinding. Let's keep grinding. All right. So Feedback Friday, we take all your questions, concerns, critiques, criticisms. You can always hit us up on the Score North app. There is a feedback tab at the bottom. And you can also hit us up on Twitter. Score North TikTok is up over 5,000 followers, thanks to Judd's dancing mostly. But Chancey and Fargo sends this in via the Score North app. Timberwolves postseason obituary. Words I no longer want to hear used on Score North or any Minnesota sports media. The Timberwolves Big Three. So we have a guy that can occasionally get hot from three and drop 20 to 30 points per game and plays poor defense. Non-factor in other games. D'Angelo Russell. Nope. I was talking about Malik Beasley. Russell is just a guy. He's got Beasley above Russell.
Wow.
I don't know that we were ever calling it a big three, but it was like their three best players, right? It was like a diet big three.
Yes.
But yeah, D'Lo, you can't just disappear for 5 of 6 playoff series games and still be part of the big three. I think it's like a duo. It's Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, right? And even Karl-Anthony Towns disappeared for half the playoff games.
Yeah, well, it's the big three of the three guys who, if you're going to be successful, need to be the most impactful, right? So, like, I don't consider that to be like the big three of 3 great players. But if you get the production that you got from one of those 3 in multiple playoff games, which is almost negative, right? You're not going to win. So, yeah, because I know what he's saying. He's going back to like the Marbury, Garnett, Googs days. I do not think of these like as the big 3. Potentially big 2, but yeah. It's just that if D'Lo doesn't produce right now, you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good segue here, actually. Because Zach Stencil via the Score North app floats a couple D'Angelo Russell trade scenarios here.
Love it.
Reckless speculation.
And actually, one more thought on the Chancey thing. I agree. D'Angelo Russell is just a guy. Like, to me, just a guy in the NBA is like just kind of you're an average player. You're not a superstar scorer. He's not. What is he great at? That would be my question about D'Lo. Besides the money that he makes, because the money that he makes is a max contract. It's not like a super max, which Karl-Anthony Towns is about to sign. But he makes over $30 million a year in a capped league. He's a good shooter, but he's not a great shooter. He's kind of a streaky shooter.
Yes.
He's a good scorer, but he's an inefficient scorer. You know, he only shoots like 41, 43%.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good passer, but he doesn't always want to be the distributor. And he can be an okay passable defender at times, but he's not a clamps defender. So he's just kind of an average player. Uh-huh.
But I think he's one of the most dangerous things in pro sports, which is he's for lack of a better term, a seducer. When he's going well, he seduces you into thinking, oh my God, there's really something here. Yeah. And those are the guys that, and this spans all sports, those people are the problem, because then you're like, if only we can get that. It's a seductive thing. So you're like, if only we can consistently get that, then it's a big three.
Yes.
And now you're like constantly chasing something that you're not going to get. And now we go around and around because there are moments he'll play like that.
Yeah, because you think, and we're all guilty of this, you tend to project the best case scenario for draft picks and for prospects and for when you see players on the Timberwolves and you see, oh man, when Malik Beasley is hot, look what this thing can be. Well, yeah, of course. But the reality is he's not Ray Allen. Ray Allen was great because he always shot that way. Like, he woke out of bed and shot 45% from downtown. And Malik Beasley for 3 months can shoot 45% from downtown, but then there might be 2 months where he's just unplayably bad, like he was this season. And D'Angelo Russell, kind of the same thing. There's going to be games here. I would say about 25 to 30% of the games he was playing at peak D'Lo capability. And you're like, wow, that version of D'Lo is part of a big three. But after 6 or 7 years, if you're unable to repeat that 80 or 90, you're not going to do it 100% of games. But what made Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett great, it's not that they didn't have bad games once in a while, but it was that they were just methodically great 90% of games. They were able to, whether they were tired or sort of banged up or the defense is focusing on them, they still found a way to be that productive all the time. They weren't just being taken out of a series for 5 of 6 games. So the repeatability of your peak level of play factors in here, and he hasn't been able, even as a former number 2 overall pick, like he hasn't been able to repeat it often enough.
Can we change the word seducer to baiter? Like, I don't know, like he's a baiter. Like seduce sounds kind of little weird. I think baiter. I think
baiter sounds
like
baiter sounds weird too, though.
Does
sounds
it?
weirder.
Yeah.
You're a master seducer or you're a master?
Master.
No.
How about is he a tantalizer?
I'm literally looking at synonyms for seduce right now on thesaurus.com. I'm just trying to figure.
I think seduce is fine.
What
betray,
are the 5?
Decisive, delude, entice, persuade.
He's an enticer. He's an enticer.
Enticer? An enticer? Okay.
Seducer,
okay.
Better term.
You know, there is a question.
I don't know.
There is a question later on, and I can't remember if it's Feedback Friday or Purple Daily reads the comments, but somebody else uses the word seduce, and I think temptress. So be ready for that at some point.
I love it.
Feedback Friday, baby.
Let's not be worried about words that might. You know what? Temptress is a great word too.
Temptress.
Yes.
Come into the paint with me. Yes.
Come into the room and watch me shoot.
Why don't you come into the paint while I take an off-balance 15-foot jump shot after starting the game 3 of 14? All right. Zach Stencil via the Score North app has some D'Angelo Russell, some tantalizing D'Angelo Russell, seductive D'Angelo Russell trade scenario. This is from sportsnaut.com. Sportsnaut.com is one of the top, like, under-the-radar, reckless speculation websites out there. They love to do people are mad at D'Lo. Here's 3 trade ideas.
You know what? Bravo.
It is genius. Yes. So the first one is with the Wizards. The Wizards would get D'Angelo Russell, who has 1 year, $31 million left in his contract, and 2 second-round picks, which, whatever. Second-round picks are, you can find guys, but. And the Timberwolves would get Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP.
KCP?
And the write-up says, we've known for some time that the Wizards have been looking to get Bradley Beal, the perfect fit at point guard. Didn't they try with Russell Westbrook a couple years ago? It's kind of last year disaster.
Yep. They did.
Well, I guess it says right here, Russell Westbrook proved that he wasn't that during the 2020-21 season. It took less than a full season for Washington to realize Spencer Dinwiddie wasn't an option before they moved him to the Mavericks, right? So it would be D'Lo, 1 year of D'Lo and 2 second-round picks to the Wizards, and they could. This is the thing: the Wizards need to trade Bradley Beal. I don't know what they're doing. So you're going to run it back one more time with 1 year of D'Angelo Russell, and I get this is just a random website, but it's probably time to get what you can for Beal.
Yep.
So Kuzma and KCP, if you guys remember, were part of that Lakers bubble championship team, and then initially I think the Lakers were looking to bring in, before they brought in Russell Westbrook, they were looking to bring in like Buddy Hield, and they were just gonna keep bringing in gunners and shooters and wing players, and then they brought in Russell Westbrook and a bunch of old guys instead, and it crumbled. But so Kuzma, KCP, you got 1 year, $14 million left on KCP's contract, and you got 1 year, $13 million left on Kuzma's contract, and a $13 million, I believe, player option for Kuzma. So he could exercise. Otherwise, he probably wants to hit the open market as a 25, 26-year-old. They're both wing players who can shoot and defend a little when they want to. They didn't do much of that in Washington last year. They can both be a little bit inefficient offensively, but KCP can get white hot from downtown. So add him to the collection of guys that could knock down shots for you. So you basically be saying, get rid of D'Lo and bring in 2 guys that equal the salary of D'Lo, and you'd basically get 1 year out of each of those 2 guys and give up a couple second-round picks. And I kind of like that. I don't love this trade, but I like the idea of bringing guys in that don't need to be the focal point and have a little bit more self-awareness. But I don't know. Kyle Kuzma can get a little squirrely sometimes too. But these guys are lanky. They're wing players. If you're looking to, this is going to get really in the weeds, but if you're looking to become more of a switching defense too, these guys would probably help you accomplish that. Or you could just switch because you got a bunch of 6'5" and 6'7" guys that can just, all right, we're going to switch here real quick.
Switch.
Oh, what do you guys think?
Go through the next trades because I don't love that. Like I don't.
you're out on this one.
Well,
these guys have championship DNA. Okay, I know they rode the coattails of LeBron and Anthony Davis, but KCP knocked down some big shots.
I don't mind KCP.
I tend to agree with you though. I don't think that Washington needs to trade Beal. You're exactly right. Like just you hit the damn reset button completely, Washington.
It's weird.
They got off to a great start, and you know what they did? They fell apart completely, okay?
Yeah, so they were like 12-3 or something to start the season.
Yes, they were fantastic, and then they completely fell apart. I don't love that. I'd consider it, but
yeah,
what's trade to?
I do like the idea of just like length wing players, shooters, etc. that don't need the ball all the time. So there's one other trade here on sportsnaut.com.
Okay.
And this one's fascinating. So this would be the Pacers getting D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick.
Okay.
Wow.
See, before I even get to this, I think I would need Miles Turner back in this scenario.
Yeah, I need someone awesome back.
But you get Malcolm Brogdon, who's very good.
Great name.
But Buddy Hield, and you'd get backup point guard T.J. McConnell. So the write-up says Minnesota would be more than fine having Beverly take a bulk of the reps as the team's starting point guard. After all, he did start 54 or 58 regular season games a season ago. However, he might be better suited to bring that juice from the second unit. So they're saying Beverly moves to the second unit, and you would essentially have Malcolm Brogdon running the point. It's kind of a combo guard, and Anthony Edwards as more of a true shooting guard, and then you can put length at the 3, 4, and 5.
Yep.
So Brogdon's the centerpiece here. And this would be a long-term commitment. You'd be swapping out a year of D'Lo for 3 years of Malcolm Brogdon at $66 million total. So he was he's 29 now. He was a former second-round pick by the Bucks. The Bucks have been so good at just uncovering, like Chris Middleton. They found, was he second round or two? Late first round, second round. They found Brogdon, a number of years ago. He's a rock solid combo guard, really good at getting to the rim. He's like 30 pounds bigger than D'Lo too. Not like, pizza and bratwurst bigger, but he's just like 6'5", 220.
He played for the Bucks, It might be.
It probably was bratwurst weight. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Cheese and
just like give me some more of those cheese curds. But Malcolm, you play for the Bucks. I don't care.
I love how when you drive through Wisconsin, there's just giant signs along the highways that just say cheese.
And by the way, one of the most overrated food things to me that people love, cheese curds.
Interesting.
I don't like how they taste.
Are you talking about the fried cheese curds or the ones you find in the gas station? Like
I'm talking about the ones with the weird texture.
Yeah.
Like the weird like it's like a basketball texture. I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yes.
The ones
No.
at every Quick Trip in Wisconsin, basically.
I do not enjoy those at all. I think
I'm with
I think
Judd
they're
now. Yes.
gross.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I don't know if I enjoy them, but I've definitely had my fair share of those little meat and cheese snack packs in a pinch on the road. It's a holiday. You're driving on a holiday. There's nothing open.
What's the one thing that you won't buy because you think the odds of contracting food poisoning are too great at a gas station?
As a guy that will eat egg salad sandwiches from gas stations, my
just
answer
gonna
is
say that.
probably nothing.
So you will eat eggs? I used to.
Yes.
I've stopped. I can't do that anymore now. I'm far too concerned about
I'll
that.
flip it and say I take the risk on a gas station hot dog 3 to 5 times a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I take
okay,
the risk
gas
of a hot dog on the gas station.
Those are just sitting out there, too, for people
Oh,
to
yeah.
breathe
I'm aware of the
on.
risks. I'm
That's
aware of
good.
the
They're
risks.
That's a
not
good point.
packaged. At least
All
the
right.
egg salad sandwich is packaged, so
But do you know
people
when
can't put their hands on it and stuff.
But if that thing is 1 hour past expiration, you might be hitting every bathroom between now and
Oh,
your
yeah.
destination.
I understand
that
the
egg
risk.
salad-
I have understood. They could just give me a waiver and I'd still sign it and buy and eat that hot dog.
And plus, you're in a car, so you got to find
Yep.
bathrooms if you're going to get
Yep.
sick.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I think that the pro play is to pop 1 or 2 Imodiums if you know you're going to be on the road for a while, and
Oh,
just put the
that's-
blockade on, and
I
then you
never
can pretty
even
much
thought of
pile
that.
anything in there for 12 hours, and it'll just
I-
come out
Food
the next
poisoning,
morning.
though, I don't know if it will take a break. Like if you get a
good point,
bad
yeah.
egg salad sandwich, I think your system is.
Well, but what makes the egg salad sandwich worse than like anything else you would buy at a gas station?
Well, I'm saying it would literally make you sick. Like it's food poisoning. Like it's expired and you get your hands on
The
it.
chuck
and now-
wagon could also be bad. Like,
No, I know. This is what I'm saying.
okay,
This is incredible.
Malcolm Brogdon. I'm sorry.
okay, so Malcolm Brogdon, he's $10 million cheaper right now than D'Lo.
Okay.
And as salaries go up, like you've got him locked in for $22 million a year. D'Lo's at 31, and the price is going to, because the cap's going to go up and stuff. So to have a guy locked in, my questions here would be, does his age mesh with where the Timberwolves are at? I think yes. I mean, bringing in a veteran guard who's been in the playoffs and stuff. You know, he's 29, but he's had some back issues too. He's not like an 82 games guy, so that makes me a little bit nervous. But I think he's a different player than D'Lo. He likes to get to the rim. He likes to score in the paint. D'Lo likes to settle for shots. He's a better free throw shooter than D'Lo. He's one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA. So he's just kind of a tough Eastern Conference Pacers Bucks type player. Malcolm Brogdon,
How much?
second rounder who grinded his way.
How much better does he potentially, though, with the style of play you just described, fit what Cat and Ant do?
I'd have to see them together, but what I don't like about D'Lo is he settles for shots. Like, and sometimes he's hot, right? I'd rather have a guy that, you know, first of all, set those guys up and be a distributor. But Cat likes to shoot from outside. Ant likes to shoot from outside. He should get to the rim more often too. Brogdon likes to get to the paint. So I kind of like that layer of, if my point guard is going to be sort of the third guy here, add a different layer of offense. Get to the paint. Get to that free throw line where he shoots like 90%.
Okay.
The other players in this deal, so Buddy Hield is basically an older, slightly more expensive version of Malik Beasley. You'd essentially be swapping streaky 3-point shooters, and you would take on the 2 years, $40 million of Buddy Hield in exchange for the 1 year, $15 million of Beasley. There's a team option on the back end, but you could get out of Beasley's contract after 2022-23. So you'd have to be willing to just pay $40 million over 2 years to a streaky 3-point shooter. But if it meant upgrading at point guard for less money, I'm here for it. And then
Yeah,
the
I think
third
it
guy
is.
is TJ McConnell, he's a backup point guard. He's whatever. He's got 3 years left in his contract at like $9 million per year. I think my question here would be, wouldn't you rather just have Jordan McLaughlin as your backup point guard? I don't know that I need another backup point guard making $9 million. So it depends on how good do you think Malcolm Brogdon would fit in swapping in for D'Angelo Russell. And is it enough to justify giving up a first-round pick and swapping the Malik Beasley, Buddy Hield contracts?
I'm not.
I
thrilled
like
about
Brogdon a lot.
Yeah.
So
I'm not thrilled about the second part of taking on a veteran with 2 years left at substantially more than Beasley's contract. The Brogdon thing, at least, though, does intrigue me. And I think we're past the point of saying, like, well, where is the Timberwolves curve compared to this guy? The Timberwolves curve, as far as I'm concerned, is just now. Like, for so long we've talked about, well, when Ant matures,
Yeah.
Ant, has proven himself to be a very good player. Cat, there's no excuses. Like, there's no learning curve left there. You've learned. Now let's go. So I think the two things are for the Wolves is anything that you're going to add should not be concerned about, well, is he a veteran and these guys? No, these guys are. The second thing from the first, I believe it was the first write-up that you read about the potential Washington trade is this one, though. I like the fact that Sportsnet assumed that Beverly would be with the second team because I like Bev, but the thing with Beverly is this. Do not count on him being healthy next season. Hopefully he is, but he missed enough games where this could go off the cliff and he could play 15 games.
Yeah. Hey, this is a really interesting, fun stat. The difference between, this was my instinct watching them play, but I found the stat that confirms it. So D'Angelo Russell, they have on Basketball Reference, average distance per shot attempt.
God, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
His average distance per shot attempt, D'Angelo Russell, is 18 feet last year.
Okay.
And that includes, some three-pointers here. It's not that he never gets to the paint, but he likes to pull up. He's got a decent mid-range game, but he likes to pull up. 18 feet on average. Malcolm Brogdon, 13 feet. So he just likes to get closer on his shot attempts. Yeah. He's not quite. There's been some years where Malcolm Brogdon's been a lights out 3-point shooter. Last year was his worst, but he only shot 31% from downtown. For his career, he's a 38% 3-point shooter. So, but he's had a couple weird seasons where he just isn't knocking down shots. He's also dealt with a back injury, so maybe that plays into it. But yeah, give me Malcolm Brogdon at that price, especially over D'Angelo Russell, 100 times out of 100 for this team. Tyler Anderson via the Score North app says, what's your guys' reaction on Dave Benz not returning as a play-by-play announcer, and what was your favorite memory of Dave Benz?
Oh, for me, it's simple. The 2-for-1. Every time. The 2-for-1 will always, every time. The Wolves might have a chance for a 2-for-1. He never said it for the poor opponent. I mean, they had chances too. Okay, full disclosure on this one, Dave seemed like a nice guy, so this is nothing personal. And I don't know why this is, but for me, it definitely is. It's probably because of my age and how I grew up consuming sports. I don't fall in love with the majority of TV guys, and especially play-by-play. I would be much more upset or have a hard take if Provis got fired or if Horton got fired. The radio guys to me are much more synonymous, and I don't know why because it doesn't make sense, but just they're more synonymous with the team to me and in some ways excellence. I think the radio guys, I think Horton is unbelievable. If he had been blasted out, I would have been like, what the hell? With Benz, I just see that job as being, okay, who's next? So I feel bad for him. I mean, that sucks. But I don't have the Wolves screwed up badly. And it always feels like in our jobs too, guys, there is immediate day one pushback, right? Like those who like you, and it's in our business, in radio, podcasting, whatever. Like if I get blown out, there would be a faction, small, but it'd be a faction of, I can't believe they fired Judd. I love Judd, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, the next day, it'd be like, Judd who?
I think Mackey and Judd would struggle without Judd,
But I'm just saying, I think we put a lot of stock in this. But the TV thing, there aren't a lot of TV guys in this town who play by play, who if they got let go tomorrow, I am that upset about.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I thought Dave did a really good job for 10. I'm still trying to wrap my head around 10 years. It's been 10 years
and
of Benz and Jim P.
developed a really good chemistry. I will say that.
They did. And Dave kind of played, I'm trying to think of the word. Dave was kind of a punching bag sometimes for Jim too, where he would try and be positive and Jim would either just ghost him and be silent or would clap back. They had a great chemistry and they weren't afraid to spar. And I have seen there's a petition going around. There's a lot of really mad Wolves fans. There's two things happening. There's a petition to bring Dave back, and there's a hashtag unfollow Bally Sports North on Twitter that's going around. The people are demanding that they do the right thing. I think it's in regards to Dave. It might also be in regards to trying to charge $20 a month for their new streaming app.
Yeah,
maybe they're just mad about all of it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Sure.
which we'll get to that in a second too. But I enjoyed the chemistry between Dave and Jim. I think Jim is so great as an analyst that you could put a lot of different people in that play-by-play role too. And he's just like, Jim is, and this is no slight to anyone that's ever worked with Jim, but Jim is so great as an analyst. And Dave is a pro, man. He's worked out on the West Coast. He's going to find something, I'm sure, if he wants to keep doing this for a living for another 5 or 10 years. So, yeah. No, Dex?
I liked Ben's. I thought the Wolves broadcast was the best of what Bally's puts out every day. I don't hide away from it. I have pretty high standards for broadcasts on television or radio, so I'm always going to try to seek out the best possible broadcast, even if that means listening to the road opponent or just seeking out anything else. I think the thing I'll miss the most is Jim Pete, and I'm guessing he'll do this with the next play-by-play person. Jim Pete is amazing at clowning Dave Benz for anything. Whether it's a call or whether it's something off the court or an inside joke, like Jim Pete brings that insight in that like can make fun of Benz for being a kind of a dork sometimes. And I think that's what I'll miss. And even though, yes, the next person Jim Pete will still do that with, it's going to take a while, I think, to get that comfort level that a lot of Wolves fans were able to experience watching Wolves games.
Two things, though, Phil, quickly. One is I saw a comparison that this is as bad as when Harlan left. No, it's not. Okay.
What?
Kevin Hart. Someone tweeted this is as bad as when Kevin Harlan left. And by the way, he left, was not fired, but nonetheless, Kevin Harlan is a Hall of Famer. Okay. So yes, Kevin Harlan. It hurt because that guy was great and he's one of the great play-by-play guys. So the second thing is, don't forget, Benz was brought in by then Fox Sports North to replace Hanny on play-by-play. Now, Tom was kept by the company and moved to studio, but Tom didn't want to go. Like, Tom liked it. And Jim Pete and Tom were literally brothers. Like, they were as close. And I thought Hanny was fantastic because he didn't try and do play-by-play. He basically did a great job of hosting the game in-game, which on TV I think is brilliant in basketball. And he allowed Jim Pete to basically just be Jim Pete. So if you're going to move Hanny, God rest his soul, a great person, then nobody's really safe.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what it is. Is it cost cutting? Are they just looking for a different voice? Is there something else? I don't know. Here's another Bally's question. So I threw this out on Twitter for $20 a month or $190 a year, which is a huge difference in monthly price, by the way. I guess if you just want the 6 months of Twin season, then maybe you would pay the $20 a month. But $190 a year is $15 a month. So that seems like the better deal. There, I'm a pitch person. Is it worth it? The new Bally's streaming app. Now, obviously, if you are a cable subscriber like Judd is, this doesn't really matter to you. I think you can just log into this with your Comcast or whatever login, you get it. But if you're a cord cutter like Declan or myself, and you have YouTube TV or Hulu TV, this is the path you would have to go down. And so I asked the audience, is it worth it? Derek Ruck, there's 100+ responses. I'll just pick a few here. Derek Rucker via Twitter says, I think it's too much. HBO Max, Netflix, Hulu, etc. cost less per month and have way more content. Bill Fellberg says, $16 a month for Twins, Wolves, and Wild is fair to me. Chris V said, yes, it's worth it. One could subscribe to Hulu Live TV and then subscribe to this and would still be cheaper than cable in most cases. Now, I live out of market, so I have to do the League Pass thing. That's how I watch. But, I mean, is this worth it for you? You're a cord cutter, Declan.
I've thought about it. So the way I get games, as of right now, because I'm a season ticket holder with the Minnesota Twins.
It's less than $20 a month? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get MLB TV. And then because I'm also the subscriber with the Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Hulu bundle, I'm also able to get Wild games. Now there's a little bit of hoop jumping I have to do that I won't explain how I do it, but that's how I watch those games. Is I get the Twins and I get the Wild, no problem. I already pay. I pay for Disney Plus. I get now baseball for free, and the only thing I don't get right now is the Wolves. I think for simplicity's sake, to eliminate that hoop jumping, I'm probably going to do this. I'm probably going to do it when it becomes available. But I'm still weighing out those options.
I got bad news because I get why there are some who would be upset about this. That's a good deal. Sports is incredibly expensive. Sports on TV, like I mean, my cable bill I absolutely hate. I'd love, but it's convenient, and if you want sports, you're going to pay. Like there is, it's not the same as HBO. Okay, like entertainment consumption but like if you're a fan of the real housewife shows or something, right? You're going to find a way, but I'm just saying the premium that is put on sports does not exist for most shows like that.
Well,
sports is live entertainment. It costs a lot. It's not going to change. It sucks, but it's just the reality of life.
And let's take your, I know like the bundles make it hard to just say, here's your cable bill, because usually it's your cable internet phone and it's like $200. But if you did a pie chart, even just percentages of, okay, here's your cable bill or your YouTube TV bill, what percentage of that value is dedicated for you to local sports? For me, it would be a huge percentage to local and national sports.
Right.
And then some of the 5 TV shows that we like to DVR and watch, right. This Is Us and whatever else. Oh. And there's only 3 episodes left, man.
Oh God! Freaking stop! Once the fondue
one of the great
killed
shows
that
in
dude,
American history.
They should have canceled it.
Oh, big Mandy Moore fan.
Crock pot.
It's a great show.
Well, yeah, she's great, but I don't like the show.
Big Mandy Moore fan.
Well, that's fine.
I just think it's worth it. It's worth it for This Is Us and for Timberwolves versus, I was going to say Grizzlies, but I'll pay for Wizards Timberwolves. I'll watch any Timberwolves game.
I know. Yeah, but yes.
Okay, Carrie. Well, there used to be pay-per-view Twins games on MSC not on MSC, but it was like a pay-per-view alternative to when they weren't on MSC back in the 90s. $3
absolutely.
a game. Yeah.
I did it more than once.
Yep. Carrie on Twitter says, on tomorrow's Feedback Friday, can you discuss how annoying the self-pitying woe is us Minnesota fans are? I'm so sick of it. The world is not out to get us. Amen, Carrie. Let's stop playing the victim here. Okay.
Right.
Let's go win some championships.
Yeah. But I had numerous friends. Sorry. Go ahead, Jed.
I was just going to say.
Listen.
Sorry.
Look. Am I breaking up? But this is what I don't get about why don't people get mad? It's always woe is us. Why is it woe is us? This is why Score North urges you to get it's not woe is us. It's incompetence on the team's parts. What D'Lo falling apart is not woe is us. It's incompetence on D'Lo's part. Why do we get the Wild played a lousy game in game 1? Look at the advanced metrics. Take your advanced metrics and shove them up somewhere else. They didn't play a good game. They played bad in their own zone. So get mad. I would rather see fire. I'm not saying it's no big deal. There's the sports. That's fun. No, you can go. Hold these teams to a standard. What does it matter? You know what it matters? Then you're not doing the woe is us thing, and I agree with that completely. It drives me crazy. We're jinxed. No, you're not. You're incompetent. Your teams are incompetent. Sorry, Declan.
I loathe Minnesota sports fans as I'm getting older. I'm literally starting to I'm starting to resent them. At game 2, when the Wild are up multiple goals. It is literally like they are trailing, and the fear. Oh my God! What was a 3-goal lead? Now it's 2-goal lead. What are we gonna do? You're in your own barn. Get loud. What are you freaking out about? You have a lead. You're not trailing. You're not coming back. You have the lead. What are you so scared about? Oh my God! What are we gonna do? Be mean. Be aggressive. Embrace the chaos. Do not just whimper into your blankie because you're afraid of what's gonna happen. I hate it.
I think people would say, well, we've been through so much sports trauma that we're always expecting the worst thing to happen. And I made a comment on Twitter the other night, too. I think it was game 1 when they were down 3-0, that there's this feeling inside arenas, and when you're watching playoff games, it's a Minnesota sports fan dread. It's this sort of passive, it's a silence and a feeling. When the opposing, you're all excited to start the game, and then boom, Curtis Granderson hits a double to the gap, and the Yankees are up 2-0 in 2010. And instead of it being this is who cares? This is the game. This is playoff hockey, baseball, whatever it is. We tend to be oh, here we go again. And I get why. It's been 30 plus years with the men's teams with no championships. Mm-hmm. But until someone on the field or on the ice or on the floor pushes through, I think fans are going to keep feeling this way.
And you know who I fault largely for setting this tone? The media. Us. We have like it or not, and I know there's going to be fans out there. It's typical Judge. Shut up. Okay, I'm not going to shut up. We have...
Shut up and dribble, Judge.
A say, exactly. Thanks, Mad Dog. we have a say in how we cover things, how we write about things, in how people think. And what do? The next day, we have a faction of people, and we always have, so it's not, the names change, the results are the same, who belittle fans on Twitter for getting mad, who defend the team. Well, it really wasn't that bad. No, it was terrible. And look, if I'm a fan and I am consuming media, which God bless you folks who do, I appreciate you. You certainly help us. But if I'm a fan and I'm consuming what's out there and I'm being told basically, oh, it's not that bad. Like, oh, you don't understand. The Wild played well in game one. What self-respecting sports town has people that are like, I'm going to torture the advanced metrics into saying that team played well? The Wolves blew a combined 51 points of lead. And we were told by some, oh, yeah, but I mean, come on, look at the good. There's no good in that. But I mean, look, sports fans aren't like, we do this for a living. We watch games. This is for some of us, this is what we do. Like, we wake up and do this job. A lot of fans are fans. God bless them. They should be. But they're looking to us for some guidance. And what do? We say things like, yeah, but remember, at the end of the day, we're fortunate to have all the teams that we have, as if they might move. And if they do move, if they threaten us, bleep them again. But I'm saying, you guys, I'm not kidding. There needs to be a conversation about this because it drives me crazy. And there are people in this business who I absolutely adore. I think they're great. But what are we doing? Why are we giving teams free passes or trying to find the good? What's the good? Do you think behind the scenes winning teams meet and say, hey, Billy Guerin, take a look at this. It's all about the advanced metrics. Did you see game one?
You think Billy turns around and says, listen, guys, after further reflection, it really is about hard work and having fun.
Yeah. But I mean, but to Dex's point, like, I get why the fans' fear drives you crazy, but we got to take responsibility at least somewhat for driving that. We're doing that. We're like, unfortunate. There's nothing about the Wolves series that was too bad, unfortunate.
Yeah, I think it's, in terms of the way teams are covered, I think it's hard because teams, think about how the dynamics have shifted over the last 15 or 20 years. Where 20 years ago, teams needed third-party media to get any message out. So you had all the leverage, right? We are the Star Tribune. We are K-Fan Radio. We are, pick your big platform. And teams didn't have their own. They might have had websites 20 years ago. They didn't have 3 million followers on Instagram. Athletes didn't have the platforms. They had to use these third-party media companies to get their messages out.
The Vikings had one guy. To your point, they had one guy. Now they've got a department full of people.
Yep. And so now, if you think about it, most media companies feel like two things. Number one, that fans generally would like a positive tone to the coverage. Like, you can't just get on and hammer the team every day. It's just like no one wants to do that every single day. So, and we're mindful of that too. Judd's not, but I think Declan and I are mindful of that.
It's not true. That's not true. I praise where praising is due.
But on the other side, teams don't need those third-party media companies like they did before. And so you in order to get access that you would have gotten 20 years ago just by having a platform, you have to sort of coddle up a little bit. You have to write nice things. You have to say nice things if you want that access now, because they don't need you to get the message out anymore.
Right.
So if you want to get access and you want to talk to key players in the front office or players in locker rooms or whatever, if you're just hammering them all the time,
sure,
you might not lose your credential, but like you're gonna lose sources, you're gonna lose information, etc. And so I don't know. I think, and people ask us, wouldn't you rather have a big team partnership? And I think the answer in the past has been yes. It would be the promotional partnership that you get if you're partners with the Vikings or the Timberwolves or whatever can be fruitful.
Right.
I think we also I think we feel a certain pride in. Yes, we do. Listen, we frickin' wave the flag and play Ode to Joy, and we celebrate just as much as anyone else. But like on the other side, there is a freedom to being able to say what we feel is true and not have to
Right.
worry about a partnership necessarily. You know?
And if a team deserves praise, they should get praise. If a team deserves to be criticized, they should get that without excuses. I also think the difference, you bring up a really interesting topic.
Thank you.
20 years ago, the people that covered teams had the opportunity to get scoops too, right? Like I broke stuff on the Vikings.
Yeah.
That stuff is so streamlined now to go to the Schefters and the national people who, by the way, the partnership means that entity, ESPN in this case, pays the National Football League billions of dollars, right?
Yeah. What's the quickest way to get something out to? It's to get it out
Right.
to. Yeah.
But I mean, so scoops now, first of all, they're gone in seconds. Like if a big football trade happens, within how long? Everybody has it. So it's not like, oh yeah, do you remember when Schefter had that scoop and I found it on my doorstep the next day? That's gone. But what I think fans need is honest analysis now from those who are around the team, which means if it's time to praise. That's awesome. But it also means that if you completely choke on your own you-know-what against the Memphis Grizzlies, there ain't no we're looking for... Now, if Chris Finch says, I'm looking for the good here, that's absolutely fine. That quote works. But I'm not going to go along with that and say, well, yeah, there's a point there. No, there's not a point there. Mm-hmm. The Wild. Dean's trying to say, 5-on-5, look how we played in game one and, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'll use that quote, but then I'm going to tell the person that reads me what that really means.
Yeah, I think another thing too. God, we got to get to some other topics here, but
sorry,
your in media, your obligation is not to the team. Your obligation is to the fans.
Right.
And so if you're serving the team over the fans, I think you lose sight of what drives your business. Right? Yes. Like you are essentially you're a conduit carrying information and analysis, as Judd put it, on behalf of the fans. So, anyways, there's a whole. I feel like there's hours of conversation here, but
and it's not just the fans' fault though. That's my point. Don't just blame the fans. Blame us.
So let's